Hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for joining me, Andrea, here at Quality Sewing and Vacuums Tuesday. How do I? We are going to do something totally magical today. Are you so excited? I love half square triangles. You can see in the quilt behind me over there that it's full of half square triangles, and that was one of my first half square triangle quilts. And it was a lot of work to try and get those bias seams together. But I wish I would have known this trick. It would have made it so much faster and so much more exciting. So join me over here at my little cutting table, and I'm going to show you how you can take two 8-inch squares of fabric and make 8 half square triangles. Yes, 8. Okay. Quilter Select makes this beautiful 8-inch square ruler, and I'm going to be using the Quilter Select rotary cutter as well. I love having just a square ruler because this way I know that all my corners are going to be perfectly square, as opposed to trying to square this up with a long guy right here. You can do it, but it's just so much easier just like this. So I'm going to just square up my fabric right here, like so. I'm going to pull that stuff out of the way. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to switch this to the other side. And we're going to square up this one here. I'm going to rotate this little square guy right like this. And we're going to cut this last side right here. Don't forget to close your rotary, and we can set that aside for right now. And voila. Okay, I have my two 8-inch squares with right sides together. Aren't those fun colors? Those are super fun. I can't wait to see what they look like. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to take my fabric marker and this ruler here. This is also a Quilter Select ruler. And we're going to make sure that the grippy side is down. And I am merely going to sew, or not sew, I'm going to mark corner to corner. I'm already a step ahead in my brain. Okay, I'm going to make that just a little bit darker so you can see that. A little bit more. Okay. Ta-da! And we're going to mark this side too. And after I mark this, we're going to take it right over to the little brother sewing machine that I have. I'm going to make that nice and thick right there. Voila. So I've marked it corner to corner. I'm going to take a few of my little pins, and you can, if you want a little more support, you can absolutely go ahead and throw a couple of pins in here. Right like that. You can put more in if you like. This is good for me though. Okay, let's head on over to the sewing machine. Right here. And I have a 1/4 inch foot already on my machine. I am just going to go down either side of my markings on both corners, right like so. And here we go. Uh-oh, except I need to make sure that it is threaded. So we are going to raise that. And this is how you thread the brother machine. It is so easy, actually. I'm glad I did this. So I just hooked all my thread in there. I just go like that, and it is threaded. Isn't that amazing? That is amazing. I'm going to make sure that this little guy is out of the way, though. The little tail is back there. Let's try this again, shall we? We're at the 1/4 inch right there. And I really like to make sure that I am at a scant of 1 inch. And a scant means, if this is my line here, I am going to sew just like the width of a thread closer to the line that I am sewing down. It means it's going to be the width of a thread skinnier than the actual 1/4 of an inch. And the reason why is because when it comes to those little points, your points will come out more perfect. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure my fabric is going nicely through here. Looking great. So here is, I'm going to do the thread cutter, needle up, switch it to the other side, foot down. Oh, I did it again. So apparently, needle up, foot up. That is what you don't want to do. I got to start with my needle down for sure. Okay. This is kind of a new little machine for me, so thank you for watching as I learn how to do all these fun little things with this beautiful little brother machine. This is an embroidery machine too. It totally doesn't look like it, but it has all kinds of fun little Mickey Mouse embroidery in it. It is such a super fun little machine. Okay, so let's try this again. Not only am I going to put my foot down, I'm going to put my needle down too. Okay, here we go. Each machine has its own little character that makes it uniquely its own. I do love the Brother machines. I use the Brother Scan and Cut, so a lot of the buttons and the way they look, they all interchange, and that's what I love. Okay, once again, we're gonna put the foot down and the needle down. It likes that. Okay. Each machine is so unique. It's just gliding right through here, going through all of those layers right there. Cut. And that goes up. One more. And then the magic will happen. Okay, I am going to lift up the needle just a little bit, or the needle, I'm going to lift the foot up just a little bit and scooch my fabric in there. Make sure it's in there. Okay, there we go. Needle down. Now I'm getting close to the head of this one needle right here, so I'm going to pull that one out and keep going. How beautiful does this just so smoothly. I'm going to do one more. We're going to cut it and lift it. I am going to, this little guy didn't quite go all the way, so I'm going to restitch that one really quickly because that's an important corner. Needle down. And I'm just going to sew right over the top of my previous sewing. Now, if you sew over the top of previous sewing, it kind of knots itself, which is kind of cool. So you don't necessarily need to add more. Okay, I feel much better about that little corner right there. All right, they look great. Let's go back over to the cutting area over here, and let's take a look at our little piece of fabric. How cool! So this is what your fabric looks like after you just made 4 little stitches, 4 straight stitches on your 2 pieces of fabric. Now we're going to make some magic begin. I'm going to take my long ruler right here, and I know this is 8 inches across, so I'm going to line up my little fabric square in between on my grid line right here. That way I can use my creative grid ruler and line it perfectly up in the middle, and I know I'm going to be cutting that perfectly right through the middle here. We have one cut. I'm going to do the same thing, Put that perfectly right in the middle. We're going to cut it here as well. It's looking great. Same thing. I love doing more cutting than sewing. That always seems to be a lot faster. Okay. And now we are going to make some awesome magic. Then you go through and you cut right through the middle of your line that you drew, through the middle of your stitches. Here. Now these don't have to be super accurate because it's the middle of your seams and you're not gonna see these. Once your seam is stitched, it's stitched. Okay, one last square here. Right like that. And just like that, we are going to open one. We'll finger press that. 2, 3, 4. You can go faster. My fingers will let it. 5, 6, 7. And 8. 8. We just made 8 half square triangles beautifully, just like this. And then you get out your little iron, you give them a good little press, and then you square up your 3.5 inch half square triangles. And then you can start creating all of your different beautiful shapes, whatever you would like. You can do this one. You can change things up by doing whatever you want with it. How amazing is that? Just like that, you are on your own, you're way to creating beautiful, unique quilts in no time at all. Thank you for joining me with Quality Sewing and Vacuum and learning how to make 8 half square triangles with 2 pieces of fabric. Now you're probably wondering, what if I want bigger half square triangles? These ones I made are 3.5 by 3.5, a pretty standard typical size, ones that you'll see in the quilt behind me over there. But what if I want like 5-inch half square triangles that are much bigger? The configurations are super easy. All you need to do is I needed 3.5 by 3.5. So you add that together, 3.5 and 3.5 is 7. And then you add an inch. You need to add an inch for 1/4 inch all around your square, and ta-da, you will have it. So if you want 5-inch half square triangles, you will cut out 11-inch squares. And the configuration will just go from there. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a creative day, and we'll talk to you soon.